Welcome to the Center for Energy Education series STEM Month. My name is Kelly Colgate, and I'm the school counselor at Chase City Elementary School in Chase City, Virginia. I've been serving this school for 25 years. And you heard that right, I'm not a science teacher. I'm not a teacher at all. I am a school counselor, but I use STEM activities in my classroom guidance activities. So that's why I guess I'm here today. Have you ever wanted to send a friend like a secret message that nobody else can read? Well, today I'm going to share with you a way that you can experiment with this, and it's called invisible ink. Now, I have had to research these and so the scientist that I have followed today is Dr. Svenja Leitner. Before we get started though, I got to tell you something. I got to share with you my personal experience. So I watched an experiment and I thought I'll just do it. So thankfully I gave myself a little bit of time, and the first time I tried it, didn't work. Second time, third time, fourth time. So, I had to stop and think about that for a minute. And I had to recall some lessons as a school counselor that I have to teach all the time. You see, I spend time with kids who are too afraid to try something, like they're afraid they'll mess up and they'll be embarrassed in front of their peers. I understand that. I feel the same way today. I also deal with kids who expect perfection and just think all the time that it's going to be just right. And this lesson will teach you otherwise, perhaps. And the third kind of kid I sometimes see is somebody who tries one time and then says, that's enough. I'm not going to do it again. So I had to recall those lessons for myself, and I had to think about our school setting, because at our school we spend a lot of time talking about the word perseverance, which means not giving up and to keep on trying. We also spend a lot of time talking about mistakes. See, we're not a school that scolds people for making mistakes. We actually try to learn from them. We know that there's actually a part of your brain, you may not know this, but there is one part of your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, and it's actually your mistake filter, and it's not even activated until you make a mistake. And when you make a mistake, that part of your brain says, let's try something else. Okay, so I had to try lots of different strategies for this experiment. I had to think through the scientific investigation piece of it. I had to recall some vocabulary words like acid and base. I had to remember things like solution and mixture. I had to use my senses. And then I just had to get into my character strengths. And one of them is not to give up. And so I hope that you'll try this today. But you can learn from your mistakes. And I'll promise you, I'll show you some of mine. So the first time that I decided I was going to send a secret message, I used a piece of recycled paper, because that's a big thing for me. Did you see a message? No. Trial number one. Actually, trial number 1 and 2 went into the garbage can. I didn't even think to save them until I had gotten to 3 and 4 and further. So here's one example. Then I thought, well, let me try a little bit something different. Do you see a secret message on this one? Nope. All right. Then I tried another way. If you look very carefully, you may be able to see just the beginnings of a secret message. Then, ta-da! I finally had my secret message revealed. So let me tell you what I did. And you can use just really simple items at home. And I'm going to be brave enough today to live experiment with you. Like, I'm not sure. I have prepared some things. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm okay with that. And I hope you will be too. Because that's the cool part about science, that you might not know what's going to happen. And then you might learn something new that you didn't even expect. That's what happened to me. Let me put my mistakes away. So to do this activity, here are the simple things. I found out that using recycled paper, even though that's in my heart, didn't work so well. So I'm using cardstock. It's just a thicker piece of paper. That's all. So I'm using cardstock. Then I mixed. I had to really think about this. Is this a solution or a mixture? See, I'm in the elementary school, and in the 5th grade, we do talk about these things. But the definitions that we use are when one thing is put into another and it dissolves and you can't take it back apart. That's my understanding of what a solution is. But when I stop stirring this and let it sit for a few minutes, it separates. So this is made from a baking soda and just regular water. I used a tablespoon of baking powder and a tablespoon of water and just mixed it. Can you see it now? It's starting to separate even as we speak. So I'm going to say this is a mixture, but I do not believe that it is a solution because I think I can, if I let this sit long enough, I think I could pour off the water, take off the 2 different pieces. I may be wrong. I'm not a science teacher, remember? School counselor. All right. So to write with, I'm using Q-tips. You could use a toothpick. I'm using just a variety of different size cups. I've used grape juice. Now the experiment, the first one I saw, used frozen grape juice. And in our grocery store right now, we don't have any frozen juices. So I used this one first, this grape juice. So I've tried that. Another thing I've tried is this cherry juice. It is a concentrate, because after this did not work, I've needed something a little stronger. And I thought, well, maybe since this doesn't have water in it, maybe this will be enough to help. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Then I did that faint little piece. I used another experiment, and I just used lemon juice or lime juice to do that. So this is turmeric. And I know because I make a lot of soups, I know that this will change the color of a soup. And so this is what I had to kind of experiment with. Turmeric, and I dissolved it in just hand sanitizer because I didn't have any alcohol, just regular, rubbing alcohol. I just didn't have any access to that. But I know that hand sanitizer is made from that, so I just use that instead. So those are all the things that I have used. And then let me tell you what the procedure is. So the first thing I did, as I told you, was I mixed a tablespoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of water. And as you can see, it's starting to separate again already. All right, set that aside. And then I took a piece of cardstock and I just for the experiment, I just divided it in half. And then I took a Q-tip and I just try to stir this back up again a little bit. And then I just use this to write with. Now, you don't want your paper to be saturated because this has to dry completely for the next stage, which is why I have done some beforehand. But I'm just going to draw whatever my message is on both sides of the page. And just to show you, you really can't see it. Okay, so this is I'm going to let this one sit aside because it has to dry completely before I do the next step. All right, so while it's drying, then you have to think. So the whole thing about this magical ink or invisible ink is we're trying to do a chemical reaction between an acid and a base. So the baking soda and water acts as the base or the alkaline, and then I needed something acidic. And so that's what these things are on this side of the table. The grape juice is acidic, cherry juice is acidic, and lime or a lemon juice would be acidic. And so the thought is that when you put those two things together, they'll react and reveal. So here is one of the pages I've used. Okay. And so the next thing I need to do, you can't see anything written on it. Here's all of them right here. Can't see anything on. The only thing that is left is a little bit of residue. So I take my hand and I'm just going to wipe off the baking soda I just wiped that off, that's all. So this is written with baking soda and water and allowed to dry. I did this yesterday on a piece of cardstock. So then I'm just going to take a brush, and you want to try with grape juice? Let's see what happens. All right, so I have written across both sides. So I'm going to do one side with grape juice. Remember, this is an acid. This is the base or alkaline. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to paint. Wow. Let's see. All right, so this is the grape juice. Can you read my message? Can you see it? So perhaps the last few times that I've tried this, perhaps one of the things that I didn't do is wait long enough, because I did not wait for it to dry overnight until today. And I can see a little bit of a message. Let's try the cherry juice and see what happens next. Let's try. All right, brush that off. If I were a true scientist, I'd probably have some water here or something, but that's me. I'm doing it this way. So here's the cherry juice without any water in it. This is just cherry juice concentrate. What is going to happen here? Okay, let's see. Can you see it revealed? This one says, thank you. All right, so maybe the cherry juice maybe isn't as acidic as some of the others. I don't know. Maybe if you did this experiment, you would try different kinds of juices. Like maybe you try blueberry, or maybe you try orange juice. I don't know. You might need to try a stronger acid to make this reveal in a better way. All right, so when I tried this, I told you I wasn't sure it was going to reveal for you. So I had to stop and think about it. What else could I use? And that's when the turmeric came to mind. Because turmeric is an indicator. And that means that it will actually react with something that's a base or alkaline. So here is my paintbrush again. And this again is now this is a solution. Because this did not divide into pieces. This is a teaspoon of turmeric, and then 3 teaspoons of alcohol or hand sanitizer. Well, let's see what happens on this one. Let's see. Can you see my message? My first one said, thank you. And this one says, for watching. I do appreciate you doing that. So let's figure out what just happened. So this is how you could reveal it. You can do it one of 2 ways. Actually, there's a third way. But the third way requires an iron. So the K that I wrote here, that's very, very faint. Very, very faint. There's a big K on it for Kelly. The way I did that one was I wrote with lemon juice, or lime juice actually. And then, this is what I have to admit to you, I hadn't read the directions. I had to go back and read the directions like 3 times to make sure I was doing it right. I just got a piece of cardboard, put that piece of paper on it, took an iron, and just ironed over. And guess what? The heat caused the lemon juice to react with the paper, and it revealed. So, I guess what we can learn from this is that it's fun to experiment, right? Like, I think that's the main part about this, is that you hope you know what's going to happen, but part of scientific investigation is to not know and to be okay with that. Like, make a mistake and then learn from that. Like, what did I do wrong, or what can I do better? Like, is this juice strong enough? Or are cherries acidic enough? Or maybe read the directions, right? Or maybe do a little bit more research. Like, wait a minute, if these don't work, I can still make this work in another way. I think that's the best part about science. So, invisible ink has been used for 2,000 years. I did not know that, did you? And it's been used from everything from espionage or spying all the way to love letters. So, at Chase City Elementary School, our kids participate in a mindful activity every single day. And this is how I plan to use this invisible ink. You see, we did an activity this week called Heart Garden. And the Heart Garden asks you to think of your favorite word. Like whatever word makes you happy. Like as soon as you say that word, it just puts a smile on your face. And so in the activity, I just asked them to think about it. But I think in school this week or next week, I think what we'll do is I'm going to ask them to write it, like on a piece of paper. And then I'll just collect those dry pieces of paper. And then the next time I'm in their classroom, we'll do a big reveal to see what everybody's word is. It might be a nice thing to know somebody's happy word. Because when you know a happy word, you plant it in your heart, and then you just watch it grow. That's what we're here about at our school, is just watching happiness grow. And we know that when we feel safe and happy, we can learn. And when we feel safe, we can learn from our mistakes because we know that nobody's going to judge us or laugh at us because of it, right? Because we all make mistakes. That's just a natural part of life. So these STEM lessons from this invisible ink is, there's some vocabulary words. Like, do you know or do you remember what an acid is, or something that's basic or alkaline? Do you remember the difference between a solution and a mixture? Do you know the steps of scientific investigation? But they're character words too. Like, do you know and do you use the word perseverance in your own personal life? Are you one of those people who just refuses to give up and willing to try, be a flexible thinker and think of other ways to solve the problem? That's a big part of growth mindset. And so I hope that those are some character strengths of yours as well. Remember, making a mistake just makes you human. So don't be afraid to make a mistake. We all do. Well, let's learn from them, right? And let's activate that part of our brain that only lights up when we make a mistake. And then the last thing is, let's just be creative, right? That's what science gives you the chance to be. You know, the chance just to be creative and to think, like, what if, what if, what if? And to me, that's what opens up my curiosity and just makes me love to learn that much more. And that's what I hope this will do for you. I hope that you'll find a way to use invisible ink. You know, maybe you'll send a message to a friend or a loved one or relative. Maybe you'll send one to your teacher and see if she can figure or he can figure out a way to reveal it. You know, you might have to give him some patience and some grace and give him some directions how to do that. So, but I do thank you for watching. And if you're interested in learning more about STEM, then please visit the Center for Energy Education. The website is center, the number 4, ee.org. And I pray you have a